So my number one hyperfixation right now is reading Reddit stories and playing Roblox, specifically Taxi Boss. So that's what we're doing today. Okay, this first story is from Relationship Advice. It reads, my boyfriend, M25, saw an old video of me, F24, and was disgusted. How can I get over this? I never thought I'd actually be making an advice post on Reddit, but everyone in my present life is super split on the issue and can't really relate. I genuinely don't know how to fix this. So, my boyfriend, M25, and I, F24, have been together a little over a year. We met at a literary convention last year as I'm an elementary school teacher and I love reading, and he is working towards becoming an English professor. Our relationship is the first truly long-term one I've had and has no major issues. He is considerate and communicative and extremely affectionate in both words and actions. Even with people he doesn't like, he is always willing to give the benefit of the doubt and avoid saying bad things about them. This is why what happened last week was so shocking to me. For context, I struggled with my weight quite a bit growing up. Up until when I was 20, I've always been on the heavier side, which was greatly impacted my confidence and life experience. During my sophomore year in college, I had a dramatic event occur involving a group of girls and a prank that made me realize just how much my weight impacted how people viewed me and would impact my future. Following that, I lost 100 pounds in 2 years and made some substantial life changes, including a large amount of people in it. The changes to my appearance also didn't stop with my weight, as during this time I changed my style, haircut, and color, and the way I did my makeup. All this to say, it was quite a dramatic transformation, so it's not unreasonable for somebody to not recognize me. In addition to that, the vast majority of people currently in my life only know me post weight loss, and it's not something I advertise. Last week, an old college friend of mine came to stay with us as she was attending a wedding in the area. She was my roommate throughout school, so she had a front row seat to the entirety of events. Since I don't talk much about my time in college, my boyfriend was extremely interested in hearing her stories. His interest was piqued when she mentioned a dance competition we won early sophomore year. This culminated in her scrolling back through her camera roll to find a video of the performance and showing him. During this, I was finishing cleaning up dinner and only walked out when they were actively watching the video. I saw his face recoil in disgust as she pointed out the section I was in. He asked, "The one next to the humpback?" My friend looked at me in complete shock and concern, and I knew immediately what had happened. She told him no and quickly pulled her phone away. I clarified that the humpback was me and asked him to leave for the night. He immediately looked devastated and started apologizing profusely, saying he had no idea and that he would never speak like that about me. I told him he just did and said I needed space. He left after more apologizing, and my friend apologized as well, saying she didn't know he would respond that way. I said it was fine, but ended up crying most of the night. The next morning, he intercepted me on my daily run with flowers and coffee and apologized again, saying I was the most beautiful girl he knew. I said it was fine, but told him to keep the gifts for now since I had to finish my run. I'm pretty thick-skinned when it comes to comments about my body, but something about him saying something like that isn't leaving me. I feel the urge to recoil every time he touches me, and haven't been reaching out first for the last week. He noticed, of course, and apparently brought it up to one of our mutual friends to ask for advice. This friend found an old picture of me through a college acquaintance's Instagram and spread it through our friend group. I've had multiple of them reaching out to me saying there is no way he could have known or that it was a fair response and I shouldn't be upset since I knew he was into fit girls. I thought he was into me. I told him to stay out of it and asked my boyfriend why he involved me. He became furious once he found out what they did and started crying, saying he didn't want to lose me and he didn't know what to do. I tried to tell him it was fine, but he told me he knows it's not because I don't look at him like I love him anymore. I don't know. He's a great guy. We're happy. People are allowed to have types. It's just that nothing feels the same anymore. I can't look at him the same. I don't want to lose him either over one small thing. Is there any advice about how I can get over this? Girly pop. I think that maybe, okay, she said she's 25, or no, he's 25, she's 24. I feel like early 20s, you're still in a period of life where you can make, you know, decisions that won't have so much of an effect. And I feel like if she can't even stand him touching her, I feel like she might as well break up with him. I know I sound like all the people in Reddit comments who always jump to breaking up, but I think that how somebody talks about other people is a reflection of how they truly feel, especially about women. If he was really willing to call some random woman that he didn't know a humpback just because she was bigger, what would he say about her if her body changed or if she had children or something happened that left her, unable to care for herself? So I don't really feel bad for him. And I feel like this is something that would probably have to take a lot of work to get over. And I don't know. Is it worth it? Also, he just made it 10 times worse by going to a friend and then that friend finding the picture and sending it to everybody and telling everybody what was going on when, mind you, nobody knew that she was fat in the first place. That was a dumb move. But let's get into some of the comments. Okay, so the top comment says he exposed how he thinks about women he doesn't find attractive. And that says a lot about his character. Exactly what I said. Okay, I promise I did not read the comments first. But then the same commenter has another point and they said, I think this is deep for you because gaining weight is always possible. How is he going to react if you were pregnant or if something happened to you, you couldn't keep up with your exercises? That's almost exactly what I said. I promise I'm not stealing from the comment. And yeah, that's the common consensus in the comments. Somebody else in the comments says he's only kind to OP because she's the most beautiful girl right now, but peak beauty doesn't stay with us for more than a few years. Before too long, OP, like everybody else, will have wrinkles, saggy skin, might get stressed at work and gain a few pounds, might get pregnant, and who knows how she'll change or get injured or out of shape. Not only will her boyfriend be unattracted to her in these circumstances, he'd also treat her like an animal. Attraction is one thing, but being mean and disrespectful to every woman you don't want to is a dark behavior. And yeah, exactly. And then somebody else in the comment shares a story about how she had a big glow up in her 20s and her first boyfriend, he said nothing above a size 12 should exist. And she told him that she was a size 14. And that made her think about dating completely differently. But yeah, I don't think the girl should really feel bad. I feel like the boyfriend messed up really bad and I don't know. I feel like she's 24, she can find somebody else. So this one's also from relationship advice. It reads, my 29F partner, 31M, is dragging his feet to propose, so I gave him an ultimatum. Did I ruin the relationship or a blessing in disguise? I've been with my partner for 6 years. After 4 years of being with my partner, 2 years of living together in my house, I asked if we were going to get married. He gave me some short answer along the lines of, yeah, of course we are, I love you, but nothing came from it. Months later, I had had enough and I gave him the ultimatum. You have 1 year from this day to give me the ring you say you will, and if you don't, I will leave this relationship as it's not going anywhere. During that year, we had some pretty rough times. We started counseling, and I found out that I am having hormonal changes that are affecting my fertility. Basically, premenopausal due to a health condition, which meant children were still on the table, but only for a limited time. The 1 year mark from our conversation comes, and he is still not proposed. We have a talk, and he says, give me a bit more time. I obliged. Another month passes. We talk again. I tell him that I have to leave, that this isn't going anywhere I want it to, and he alludes to wanting to do it before the holidays, so about 2 months. 3 months later, 4 months after the 1 year deadline, I found a receipt for a ring he had purchased 5 months ago. He tells me he plans to propose on a specific date. The date comes and goes. He claimed that the date no longer was special since he told me the plan. 2 weeks after we have a date night, I can see the box in his pocket. The night ends, no proposal. Now I'm distraught. Our talks turn into frequent arguments. I finally tell him that I cannot do this anymore, that I constantly set boundaries and deadlines for myself because if this seems to not be going anywhere, I need to leave, yet he always talks me back in, and I let my guard down and give him more time. I give him 2 more months. Nothing. We blow up on each other. I tell him I'm done, giving him 1 more time. He has 1 week, period. 1 week goes by and he uses the excuse, well, we didn't talk about when the 1 week starts. I give him another week. This brings us to present. My family is in town this weekend. He hasn't asked for my father's grace. I told him that was important to me. Saturday comes, he tells me he can't do this because it's forced and he wants to do it all on his own way and asks me for 2 more weeks. I say no. He says, well then I'll go have a talk with your dad today. He leaves the house after that. Comes back, we go on about our day. Now we're out to dinner and something comes up about tomorrow. He goes, what's tomorrow? I say, aren't you doing a thing? Didn't you talk to my dad today? He says, no, I drove past the house, but I couldn't do it. I break. I tell him to call an Uber and go home and pack his things. Did I ruin the relationship by forcing/putting pressure on him? Or did I finally choose me over a relationship that wasn't giving me what I needed? Okay, I feel like this one is going to be a bit mixed. I don't agree with the ultimatum, but being that the ultimatum was, we've already been together all of these years and I want to get married, which I feel like that would probably have been something that she had told him when they started dating also, that she wanted to get married. And she seems like a pretty straightforward person, so I don't doubt that. I don't think that she's doing anything wrong. If the goal is always to get married, nobody wants to sit around and wait for years and years and years and years and years for you to do what you said you were going to do. And he's dragging his feet so much, but he's doing all these steps to actually propose. Like in the story when she said she had found the receipt for the ring that he purchased 5 months ago, that would have been a month before the 1 year deadline that she gave, or him bringing the ring to dinner and not doing it. But I will say it's gone on this long because she's let it. Because there's no way I give you an entire year deadline and then now we're adding months and we're adding weeks and we're adding days. That's too much. But all of that time and he still didn't ask her dad if he could marry her. That's how you knew he wasn't serious, because she said that was something that she told him that was important to her. He didn't want to get married, so I feel like it was for the best. Most of the comments agree. Top comment says he's stringing you along, time to move on. For real, drove past her dad's house and couldn't do it after 6 years. That's all the answer she needs. She didn't lose a fiance, she dodged a lifetime of waiting. And yeah, I agree with that, because if she was waiting this long for a proposal and she's already feeling like, she has limited time, or she's been told by her doctor that she has a limited time to have children, and if that's something that she really wants, I'm not going to sit around with somebody who won't even take the initiative to propose after being told. That's the crazy part. Somebody in the comments says, you give him ultimatums, yet you don't see them through. He's going to string you along forever because he knows you will believe anything he says. He doesn't want to marry you. How many times does he have to tell you? Exactly. People will show you way better than they can tell you. Somebody else in the comments shares a short little story. They said, when my boyfriend and I were 23, we moved in together. We had been dating a couple of years. We lived together for a couple of years. He needed space. So although we spent every weekend together for the next 2 years, we lived apart. Then one day, he asked me to pick my favorite restaurant to eat at that night. After the dinner that night and 6 years together, he dumped me. A year later to the date, he gets married to somebody else. So it wasn't that he wasn't ready to get married. He didn't want to marry me. So girlfriend, wake up and smell the coffee. This story is very, if he wanted to, he would. Let's move on to the next story. Okay, this is the last one from relationship advice, I promise. This one reads, my 32M girlfriend, 29F, let her struggling friend crash on our couch, and now I feel like a stranger in my own home. How do I handle this without being the villain? My girlfriend, Sarah, and I have been living together for 2 years. Everything was great until about 3 weeks ago when her best friend, Chloe, went through a messy breakup. Sarah asked if Chloe could stay with us for a few days until she found a new place. I agreed because I wanted to be supportive, but 3 days has turned into 3 weeks and there's no end in sight. The problem is, Chloe has completely taken over our living space. I work in a high-stress job, and all I want to do when I come home is sit on the couch, play some games, and hang out with my cats. But every time I walk into the living room, Chloe is there. She's either watching reality TV at max volume, taking up the whole couch with her laundry, or talking loudly on the phone. My cats have been stressed because she's constantly moving their stuff around, and I've basically been relegated to my bedroom if I want any peace. I've tried talking to Sarah about it, but she immediately gets defensive. She says Chloe is fragile right now, and that I'm being heartless for wanting to kick her out when she has nowhere to go. Like, I'm not saying she has to live on the street, but I pay 70% of the rent, and currently feel like a guest in a hostel. Last night, I tried to sit down and play some Dota, and Chloe actually asked me to use headphones because the clicking was giving her a headache in my own living room. I love Sarah, but I'm starting to resent both of them. I feel like my boundaries are being completely ignored in favor of her friend's comfort. How do I sit Sarah down and make her understand that Chloe needs a hard deadline to move out without it turning into a fight about me not caring about her friends? I think that he's completely justified. I feel like obviously we were all raised differently, but I feel like some people did not really have conversations with their parents before going somewhere, because I know anytime I was going somewhere for more than a few hours, it was don't touch anything, be in your own space, clean up after yourself. So I feel like her friend being a friend being comfortable in another friend's home is one thing, but taking up all the space and being there for an undisclosed amount of time, that's absolutely unacceptable. The friend has definitely overstayed her welcome. OP really needs to get a handle on this because it's only going to get worse. Let's read some of the comments. Top comment says she's not going to leave. You'll have to make her. I've seen this too much. They come in, but they don't leave. You may even have to formally evict her. Does she get mail there? And then the comments go on about how there's either a 2 week or 30-day time frame to where they would have to legally call the police and have them formally evict her. And then it would be another 30 days that they would have to wait. And how it would be more horrible to live with her while she's being evicted than what she's doing now. Somebody else gives really good advice and says you cannot avoid this conflict. Your problem is with Sarah, so that needs to be your focus, which I do agree because Chloe's only doing what she know, or Chloe's only acting like that because she's comfortable to act like that because of Sarah. And then somebody else says, however, you should feel free to tell Sarah you will not wear headphones in your own home. No, she cannot hog the couch. She needs to move her laundry. She cannot have the TV at that high volume. Yeah, he's probably miserable. Sorry to this man. And he's paying 70% of the rent. There's no way. And I don't think there's any updates on this one either. So, on to the next story. So this next story is from Am I the A-hole? Am I the a-hole for telling my wife she needs to forget it and going out by myself for my birthday instead of going to her fancy dinner reservation? This has been an ongoing issue and it came to a head yesterday. My wife is a planner and it is extremely hard for her to go with the flow. If we're going to do something, she needs all the details. Edit, she does have OCD. I forgot to include that. A while ago, she asked what I wanted to do for my birthday. I've been burnt out from work, so I told her I just want to go to a chain restaurant around here on my day. Just a chill night out. I don't want to get dressed up or anything. She asked where and what time. I told her I'll just pick day of what I'm feeling. Maybe I want Olive Garden or maybe I want to get Chinese takeout. I expressed many times I don't want to plan anything and just go with the day. Really, I just wanted to eat something I was feeling that day. This week she asked what time and I told her when we both get home, so like 5 or 6 we can go out. She was frustrated I wasn't giving her an answer about where to eat and I told her multiple times what I'm feeling that day. She asked if we needed reservations and I told her no, multiple times. We'll be a walk-in on Wednesday to a chain restaurant. She asked if I wanted anything fancy. I told her no. I just wanted a simple night. Yesterday was the issue. I wanted Olive Garden, go home, get some breadsticks, and chill for the rest of the night. I get home around 5 and my wife is all dressed up. I asked why, and she said she made reservations for a fancy sushi place in the city. She said it was a surprise, and we need to leave in about 20 minutes. Nothing has sounded so unappealing to me in my life. I told her I wanted to go to Olive Garden. We got in an argument about how she spent all this effort to get a reservation. I told her I didn't want any of this. In the end, I left to go to Olive Garden by myself. We got into another argument after I came back. So, I'm just going to say this now. Not the a-hole. I feel like I feel like a person's birthday is about them, not about what the other person wants. Even if it's a surprise birthday party, you invite the people that they're friends with, even if you're not friends with them or even if you don't like them, because it's not about you. I've been to plenty birthdays where there are people invited that I don't like, but I still choose to go because at the end of the day, it's not about me. It's about supporting my friend or supporting the person that we're celebrating. And so I very much disagree with the wife, and I agree with OP. He didn't do anything wrong. It's his birthday, and if he didn't want to do anything big, he didn't have to do anything big. Or if he wanted to throw the biggest party ever, then he could do whatever he wanted. But it's just the fact of, respecting that. Also, that's his wife, so I feel like she would know better, unless this is like an unreliable narrator type of situation. I'm not sure. Most of the comments agree. Somebody said, not the a-hole. Your wife didn't spend that effort for you. She spent it for herself. She knows that. She's just mad she didn't get her way. Which I agree with, because if what he's saying is true, and he said multiple times that he didn't want to do anything fancy, he didn't want a reservation, and she did it anyway, she literally just went 100% against what he was telling her. Somebody replied to that comment and said, I see it this way too, but on the upside, OP knows exactly how to handle her birthday. OP's wife would like a fancy dinner out in the city with reservations and sushi. She wants to get dressed up and have a fun night out. And I agree with that. That's probably the only upside in this story, because it was his birthday, his wife was mad at him, and he ate at Olive Garden alone. But at least he got his breadsticks. Okay, I think we have time for one more story. So this one's also from Am I the Asshole? And it reads, Am I the asshole for refusing to apologize to my mom for feeling left out of my wedding? Last March, my husband, 30M, and I, 32F, had a small wedding. Since then, things with my mom have been a total mess. For background info, my dad passed away several years ago. Before the wedding, once we got engaged, I tried to talk to my mom about our ideas for the wedding. My mom hates social events and weddings specifically. She thinks they're a waste of money and an inconvenience to guests. She kept pressuring us to elope or have a micro wedding. Keep in mind that she wasn't paying for anything. After telling her no a dozen times, I finally snapped and told her to drop it. After that, she completely shut down and lost interest. I still tried to involve her by inviting her to the florist, dress alterations, offering to go shopping for her mother of the bride outfit, but she was always too busy or just uninterested. I even asked her to get ready with me in the bridal suite, but she refused, saying she'd rather get ready at home because she didn't want to socialize. She even skipped the rehearsal dinner because she didn't feel wanted. The wedding day. On the day of, she showed up to the bridal suite with my uncle. The room was tiny with zero privacy, and I didn't want a man in there where we were all changing. Since she refused to leave his side, she got incredibly offended that she wasn't allowed to stay. For the record, she was already completely ready. Outfit, hair, makeup, so she would have been the only one not being exposed. Then, immediately after the ceremony, she tried to leave. She actually told my maid of honor to tell me goodbye because she was just leaving. It took multiple people convincing her to stay just to take photos and say a proper goodbye. It was a huge, disappointing scene. She missed the reception entirely, and of course, this was incredibly noticeable to all of our guests. Present day. She's been crying to relatives and her friends about how disappointed she is that she wasn't included, claiming I pushed her out of my life. She's refusing to have a real conversation with me until I apologize for not taking her feelings into consideration. I feel like I spent months begging her to be involved, only for her to blow me off, but now she's acting like it's my fault she wasn't involved. Am I the asshole for refusing to apologize? So, absolutely not. Um, First of all, she knew exactly what she was doing. She didn't want you to have a wedding. She didn't want it to be a big thing. But then once you kind of told her that it was your decision and you were having a wedding, that's when she decided whether she really planned it or whether she internalized it. She been knew what she was gonna do. And she's going out of her way to get all this attention for somebody who hates social events. I think that's the first thing that she really wanted attention for, was skipping the rehearsal dinner so people could feel sorry for her. And then her bringing the uncle into the room in the bridal suite with all the women, that was another thing. And then also not getting ready with everybody. It's just a very weird situation. And I feel like anybody who takes her side is probably just as not all the way there as she is, let's just say. But let's read some of the comments. So the top comment on this says, "Not the asshole, sounds like a narcissist who wanted all the attention on your wedding day and found a way to make it about herself." Yeah. Somebody replied to that and said, "Yep, toddler mom." That's a new one. Somebody said, "Wow, she sounds exhausting. I think she got the social feedback that her behavior was messed up and now she wants to rewrite history to make it your fault. Not the asshole. Tell relatives the real story if you want." And then OP replied and said, "Yeah, she's been cut off by several people following the wedding, which I've been blamed for too, since obviously I've been talking poorly about her." I mean, her mom sounds like one of those people who do something to you and then they're mad about your reaction to what they did. Somebody else in the comments asked if OP's mother suffers with an anxiety disorder, and then OP replied and said she does have generalized anxiety disorder, which she refuses to medicate. Once I realized that she didn't want to be involved as a mother of the bride, I just accepted that she wanted a guest role, and I dialed back expectations. I still offered her the opportunity to be more involved in the wedding itself, but I'm mainly disappointed that she didn't want to do any of the activities leading up to the wedding, but is now very upset since she felt excluded. Yeah. OP's mom is just having a lot of backwards feelings, a backwards emotion, backwards logic. Yeah, something's not right, but OP also replied to somebody else's comment and said that they think that her mom pushed eloping on them because that's what she did, because her and her dad got married at the courthouse when she was 9 months pregnant with OP. So, yeah, not the asshole. But anyways, thank you for watching. I think I'm all out of footage. But comment if you have any subreddits that you want me to read from, or if you have any stories specifically. And also, like the video and subscribe if you want. If you think it was good, of course. But anyways, that's all. Bye.